We good? Alright, we good. Jesus. My AirPods, because it's Bluetooth, it kept going, it kept switching from like my phone to my laptop. And that was irritating. But no. It's Christmas time. It's the holidays. Let's get it. I'm not trying, you know what I mean? We good. Stop! Done.
Hello, my friends. Today I'd like to introduce a brand new game. And believe me, this is lit.
I'm good.
As we all know, you guys and I like a horror story, and this is why I am convinced that you will love this game. A new game, Blair Witch, from the Hunt to Killer series has just come out. A few weeks ago, one box had delivered to my house, and I was absolutely thrilled. With this one box, you could feel that you got sucked into a scene in a horror movie wherever you are. Now, I know everybody feels bored, especially during this self-quarantine time. No matter if you are alone or with your friends, it's the perfect activity to play with this one box. You can have the best horror experience, and I'm telling you, this is not just a simple board game. This is a perfect horror experience that you could get immersed in. It's like you're playing a room escape game in your house.
Right.
The thing is so simple. All you have to do is just register the box. You take it, and just enjoy it. What else? Nothing. If you sign up for a subscription, you can get 6 boxes in each season, and each box is full of realistic evidence, maps, police reports, and more to provide a horrifying and immersive experience. You derive great pleasure at a small cost.
Right.
I've been playing this game recently whenever I feel bored. Not only does the Hunt a Killer already have 100,000 subscribers, but it also has received over 2,000 5-point reviews.
Okay.
You can go to huntakiller.com/Wansee and use special code for 20% off your first box. Again, make sure to use code Wansee for a 20% discount.
Okay.
Can you survive the curse of the Blair Witch?
No, I can't. Thank you.
I'm not much of a storyteller, so bear with me. During the 90s, I went through a very rough time in my life. After a failed marriage, I became a bit of a nomad, wandering across country on foot with no particular destination. It was a stupid idea, but I was in a very hopeless place back then, and just looking to experience something new. I've been traveling down South Dakota and hitched a ride with a truck driver into Nebraska. For those—
Oh, there it is. Wow, cornfields? Okay. Oh my God. Lord only knows what's in your book bag. It better be a pair of Adidas, but I feel like it's not because you hitchhike with a stranger driving next to a cornfield. Big ass cornfield. It can only go downhill from here.
Those of you who have never been to that state, there are large sections of land that go on for miles with nothing but cornfields lining either side of the road. We split ways at a rest stop, and I made my way into what I now know to be the Sand Hills of Nebraska. The Sand Hills region is one of the most isolated areas in the United States, 20,000 square miles of nothing but dunes and prairies. I planned on hitchhiking my way to the nearest town and catching a bus to visit a friend I had in Omaha. But I found out the hard way that this stretch of road was not ideal for hitchhiking. I barely saw any cars going down this road, and the ones that did completely ignored me. 12 hours had passed, and I was running low on food and water. I was utterly exhausted at this point, and I needed to find a place to rest for a while. I had about an hour left of daylight. Lucky for me, I happened to come upon an old farmhouse that was situated about a half mile away from the main road. From a distance, I thought this place may have been occupied, but when I got closer, it was clear to me that this house was abandoned. This was around the fall, so weather in Nebraska wasn't terrible. However, the nights were a bit on the cold side, so I decided to hold up in this house for the night and continue my journey the next day. I had enough supplies to last me one more night. The house was your typical rotting husk. Smelled like mold, severe water damage, creaking floors, etc. The living room seemed to be the only decent place to settle down at, so I unpacked my sleeping bag and eventually dozed off.
Shit, that scared me. Oh, shit. I was gonna say I hope you're a light sleeper, but then that shit happened. I feel like sleeping in a place like that, you would definitely have to sleep really light and sleep with one eye open and both ears. You're not really asleep. You know what I mean? It's like you're the type. It's like the type of sleep that you would have in school. You know what I mean? Like the sleep in school where like you doze off. Or like you go to sleep in school, but you're still wide awake. You can still hear everything that's going on, right? But you're not fully asleep. That's like you just kind of like you sleep like just, I don't know how to say it. Like you sleep real light, like you can just wake up at any time. It's not like I hope he's not sleeping as if he was in his own bed. That's a whole different type of sleep. Wow.
I woke up to the sound of floorboards creaking. I immediately sat up and listened. I could hear several pairs of footsteps thudding all around the house. They were coming from upstairs, downstairs, on the back porch outside, and even in the same room with me. But I didn't see a thing. I quickly got to my feet and walked over to the nearest window and peered out. What I saw was truly alarming and sent a wave of nausea through my entire body. Several cloaked figures were standing side by side.
Oh my God.
They appeared to be encircling the house. Because of the footsteps I heard, I thought there may have been people in the house with me. So in an effort to defuse things, I made another big brain decision and spoke up. Hello? I'm sorry if I'm trespassing. I was just looking for a place to rest for the night. I thought this place was...
That's not a big brain decision. That's a small brain. No, that's a small, very small, like that scene in the episode of Jimmy Neutron where they went inside of Sheen's brain. It was Carl and Jimmy. They went inside of Sheen's brain. No, they went inside his head, and I think it was like a little nut where his brain is. You know what I mean? Cluck ass brain, like that wasn't a big brain thing. That was a cluck. That was a. I'm trying to think of a name. That was a. That was a cluck ass thing to do.
Abandoned. Again. I'm sorry. All the footsteps stopped at once. An eerie silence followed. It was so quiet that I could have heard a mouse shitting in the corner. I got this real bad feeling in my gut, so I reached into my backpack and pulled out my hunting knife. I gathered the rest of my things and slowly moved out into the hallway. Aside from the mysterious figures outside, I was also thinking of what was making those footsteps inside the house. As I said, I heard several footsteps when I woke up, so I figured it wouldn't be long before I ran into someone inside the house. But after combing the entire downstairs, I didn't see or hear anything.
Get out!
I could tell something was very off. That bad feeling I mentioned earlier intensified, despite the fact that I knew there was a bunch of weirdos in cloaks waiting for me outside. Something told me that if I didn't leave the house that very moment, something terrible was going to happen to me. The house was located in a wide open clearing. Beyond the clearing was a barrier of tall grass. When I left through the front door, I stopped directly in front of the house. No matter which direction I looked, I saw another hooded menace blocking my way. I suddenly felt this heat on my back. I quickly turned around. I cannot explain how this happened. Moments before, I was inside that house, walking around, and it was now on fire. I backed away. I decided that I was going to run through the figures and get the hell out of Dodge. But when I turned back around, The figures were nowhere in sight. Things were getting way too bizarre for me at that point. The only thing I knew for sure was that I had to get the fuck out of that place. When I got back out to the main road, I didn't stop walking until I finally got to a town, whose name I can't remember. The rest of my time in Nebraska went well, and I got my life together shortly after I got back home from my trip. As long as I live, I'll never forget that old farmhouse and those mysterious cloaked figures. This incident still baffles me to this day, but perhaps some things are best left unanswered.
You got it. I was not expecting cursing in Wansee's videos.
Have you guys experienced this before?
No.
Of course, I can tell you that I'm a very normal person.
You're not.
However, I felt like I'm a psychopath when I was very young.
You are.
Whenever I talk about this, it feels like I'm talking about someone else, but it's definitely my memory.
Right.
Let me tell you some of my childhood memories.
Okay.
I'm going to start my first story lightly. My mom said that when I was young, I would often pick up a few worms from the ground, bring them home, and divide them into a few pieces with a shovel.
What?
Secondly, I dimly remember it, but after fighting with my sister, I always couldn't hold back my anger. So I used to walk around with a blade cutter to make a rattling sound, putting the blade up and down. My third story is, just when I learned walking around, I happily went to greet my second sister bringing a knife when she came home. That's what my mom said to me too.
Club Gene. Just say. Born psychopath. Born a clucky. You should have just at the base.
She said I especially liked knives when I was young, and I don't know why. The fourth story. One day my mom went to the bathroom to take a shower, leaving me alone in the living room. As I was a little child back then, I was watching TV, and there was a scene about a doctor who was doing surgery. And I guess I wanted to copy his motion with the same way. So I stabbed myself in the stomach with a knife a little bit. My mom came out of the bathroom at the same time, and of course she was very surprised and even shocked. She took me to the emergency room that day. I had a slight surgical scar on my stomach until when I was in elementary school, so that can be a proof that it's a literally true story. The fifth, I recently found an album in the wardrobe a few days ago. The pictures were mainly about me and my mom. However, some of my mom's pictures in the album were kind of weird. It's like her eyes were cut out as someone had purposely pierced it. "Hey Mom, what's wrong with these pictures?" I asked her. And she answered, "When you were a kid, you would always get angry and pierce my eyes on every picture of me whenever you argued with me."
Oh my God.
My mom in those pictures was smiling pretty when she was young, but I've ruined all of them. I felt really sorry. When I wrote down like this, I thought I was crazy or something, seriously.
You are crazy.
But when I was talking with my mom about the past, I didn't believe that I did it. And finally, the last story is the main point of why I had to write this. Because this is the one that only I remember, and which is that my mom will never know. I still don't know why. Anyway, I was in elementary school at the time. One day around 3 p.m., my mom came back from work and fell asleep on the couch. And like a psycho in a thriller movie, I grabbed a big knife in the kitchen and slowly approached my mom. I went right in front of her and just stood there staring at her for a long time. At this time, I felt like it was me doing this, but on the other hand, it was not me.
Wow.
Then I remember that she twisted a little, as if she was going to wake up. And being surprised, I put the knife back in place. This story is a secret that I can never tell my mom, no matter how much time goes by. Pretty goosebumps, huh? But there's something even more creepy. Not long ago, my mom told me about her childhood story with her grandmother. And turned out, she once stood behind my grandma's back holding a knife when she was a little kid.
Clutching! Generation from 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 generation. Fuck.
Like me. But when Grandma turned around and asked my mom what she was holding there, she finally recovered her consciousness, and she put the knife back in the kitchen. You see, it's a very similar story to mine. Of course, she never knows what I did that day. She just told me her story accidentally. Don't you guys think it's a creepy? I'm just wondering if the psychopath's temperament is the reason of genetics influence.
You know, that whole family should just jump in a pit of you know what I mean, cluckness, and just never come out, never return. You know what I mean? Just cluck that whole family up and stop it from spreading. You know what I mean? Because like, what if like the kid grows up, because she has a clutch gene. What if she meets somebody else? You know what I mean? Meets a guy. They got babies. Now their babies got like, you know, half a clutch gene. You know what I mean? And then their babies have more babies and more babies. Nah. I can't have that. I can't. So I would if I had the option, I would definitely throw every single one of these family members into a pit of cluckness in hopes that they never come out. Just saying. Yeah, cut it off at the base. They didn't, but I'll be sure so. I'll be happy to do that. That's crazy. And I bet her mom's mom was like that. Oh my God. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy, my family.